we haven't talked about her in a little while, but, I think it's totally fair to again. We're talking about Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt, and people going, how do we stop something like this from happening again? Mm-hmm. Well, number one, don't be an idiot. Now, I'm not saying the kids. The kids, they were victims 100,000% on this. I'm talking more the folks that thought, these two seem like great folks to take life advice from. Those folks. The child abuse case involving Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt has now prompted Senator David Hinkins to advocate for enhanced oversight of life coaches across Utah.
Yay. How about across the nation? Can we do that?
Well, the thing is, they're not saying they're doctors. They're calling themselves life coaches because they can't call themselves doctors. So if you outlaw the term life coach, they're just going to come up with some other shit. And then people will pay them money if they like or they feel moved by whatever shit they're saying out loud of their mouth. So this just seems utterly stupid, David Hinkins. I'm sorry. And about 30 years or 40 years behind how people communicate and how things work. Hinkins believes that the state must take a more proactive role in regulating this industry to protect families and individuals seeking guidance. They're not therapists. They're not doctors.
Hang on a sec.
Yeah.
We are down a slippery slope. And I say this, I'm going to sound like I'm old and outdated here, but there is a segment of our population, and I would bet people who are listening, that get most of their news, their medical advice, etc., from TikTok.
Sure.
And YouTube. And while that's fine, it's we were talking about this off air. You need to vet that information. It's fine if somebody sparks an idea, but you can't take that as verbatim unless they are a vetted source. And that means that they're factual, that they have credibility, that maybe they have a license to tell you that information.
Well, here's the thing. Doctors, therapists, all that, those are licenses. Life coach is not a fucking license. Life coach is a quote unquote certification. And you know who somebody got that certification from? Another life coach. So it's like, it doesn't matter. I mean, unless you're going to like look at this and go, oh, this is a great life coaching place that they had education at, they learned, and they got certified by this place, and you really trust that place. Okay, great. Most of the people out there on TikTok, on Instagram, on whatever, YouTube, that are going, I'm a certified life coach. That doesn't mean shit. It means someone emailed you a PDF that says you are a certified life coach by the Life Coach Academy of Buster and Milfreed, or whatever the fuck they want to say. It doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm a minister. I went onto a website and I got ordained. I mean, I did it just because I could.
Yes. And now you go and preach to homeless cats behind the Home Depot at the end of every day.
Business, man.
It is. I know. I mean, it's okay. The cats need some spirituality. The impetus for Hinkins' call for action came from Ruby Franke's estranged husband, Kevin, who approached the lawmaker, urging him to investigate the qualifications required to become a life coach. Hey, you know what, Kevin? You can Google that, too. You don't need to go to your senator or whatever. Google it. The answer is there aren't any qualifications to become a life coach. Shockingly, Hinkins discovered that there are no mandatory qualifications, creating a concern that unqualified. See, I could have told them all this right there, like anyone, but these people are too stupid to realize that. One alarming aspect highlighted by the case is the potentially misleading titles used by life coaches. The connections classroom, you misspell something. People seem to kind of go to that. Ooh, there's an X in the word connections. That must make them smart. Which remains operational, by the way. The connections classroom is still out there, describing Ruby Franke as a certified mental fitness trainer. See?
No, wait a minute. I've had a personal fitness trainer.
But
she actually is licensed. She has undergone a ton of training
personal
and testing.
Fitness, And that is another one, too, where in the world of certification, anyone can certify anyone. If you want to say, hey, I have this company and I'm certifying you, you're certified by that company. And you know what? The average person is not going to look that up. They're just going to hear certified. Well, that sounds really good. Did you hear they're certified? Oh, my gosh. Well, they must be good. End of story. That's how most of it works.
I'm a certified veterinary technician. I have a license from the state of Wisconsin.
That's a license. That's a license.
But I'm still certified.
Well, I can't go to a state and say I like a lot of pets, and I could make you like you're a certified pets specialist. It doesn't mean shit. It's just a bunch of words put together. You're not licensed if you're not. But it's all about words that make people think they are something, but they're not. This is just where I say, don't be an idiot. Don't fall for people saying this sort of shit because it doesn't mean anything. Senator Hinkins expressed concern over such title, stating it's just a title that somebody could make up and it makes it sound professional when it's really probably not. Exactly. Furthermore, with some online classes offer what they call mental fitness training. And you know what? I will say this because I'm not just slamming every person out there giving advice. There are great people out there that are not psychologists, that are not therapists, that are not doctors, that are, in fact, very good and very qualified to be giving out information. There are far more that are not, just by laws of numbers. But yes, there are legitimate people out there, but you need to vet them. And you need to be careful, too, because at the end of the day, if you're not going to get your license for psychology or therapy or whatnot, you're not one of them, no matter how much you'd like to pretend you're Dr. Fraser Crane. It just doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. Hinkins emphasized, I don't think there's anything that stops her from saying that. And I don't know that she's had any background training in that. You're right, because there isn't. And there's nothing you're going to legislate that's going to change that. Former clients of Connections Classroom have accused Franke and company founder Jodi Hildebrandt of employing shaming tactics designed to create division within families. One client, Trey Warner, shared a disturbing example where a man believed he was a danger to his family merely because he had a momentary lapse of concentration. Warner recalled, this guy got his own apartment and separated from his family because he was a, quote, danger. The critical issue at hand is the lack of regulations and standards governing such life coaches in Utah. Senator Hinkins highlighted this gap, stating right now there's nothing regulating them. They can tell people to do anything they want, and there's no recourse. He believes that individuals professing to be life coaches should be subject to criteria to establish credibility and protect the well-being of clients. So you're going to legislate the words, and they will just come up with something else. It doesn't fucking matter.
Can I open a can of worms real quick?
Sure.
What about religion? I mean, I've heard some pastors making some horrific statements.
But same thing. If they're not
telling people what they think they should do with their lives, and it's like, what?
I am not anti-religion. I'm not anti-going and getting some sort of counseling if that's what you believe and you trust your pastor or your church or something. Those can be very good things. But again, there's plenty of bad, too, that get into those mixes. And not always because somebody's nefarious. A lot of times it's just because they're idiots or they want to do some sort of counseling and it makes them feel good and they think they're giving good advice, but really they're destroying relationships. It's not always someone that's doing horrible, nefarious things. It's just they're not qualified to be giving the advice that one thinks they're getting from a qualified individual. So yes, that certainly does filter down to churches as well. When you have people giving advice, when you have people giving counseling type services that are not certified counselors or licensed counselors.
Well, and even licensed counselors, I've got a couple of therapists in my family, and they do a lot of work to try to be, cutting edge and current with the times. Even they can go down the wrong path and lead somebody astray. They don't mean to, but it's hard. It's hard to guide people to do what's best. So even those who are trying their hardest can stray down the wrong road. This, without any sort of direction, is freaking dangerous. So but what do you do?
Again, I go back to don't be a dumbass. Is take it for what it's worth. If they're not licensed therapists and you're expecting therapy, don't expect therapy. You may get some advice that's useful. You may get some guidance that's useful. You may get horrible advice. May get horrific guidance. But again, you are talking to someone who's not. But you can also get the same from someone who is licensed as well. That does happen too. But just I think a big problem with a lot of this is mental health help in our country is so unaffordable and unattainable for so many people from a licensed therapist that people now turn to things like this. And in some ways it's a blessing, because I think a lot of people do get some good help, but it's also a horrible detriment too, because again, you're not talking to someone who really knows the ins and outs and has a bigger, greater understanding of the mental health in general. So it's one of those things where I think you kind of go to it, it's like, well, it's a poor man's therapy, if you will. Or they get sucked into the echo chamber of what they already believe, which may be a bit twisted. And then they suddenly hear somebody else saying the same twisted things. And, they're offering guidance and counseling, and they already believe the same wacky shit I believe. Well, sign me up. This is just going to embolden that. This is just going to confirm my already fucked up ideas. And if there's a bunch of people with these fucked up ideas, well, then I must not be wrong. And that's how you get Jodi Hildebrandt. I'm on a fucking roll today of going off on things. They noted that some complaints involve former licensed behavioral health practitioners who lost their licenses and now operate as life coaches, providing services that may be illegal. Well, it's not illegal as long as you don't say you're a therapist or you're a licensed anything. You can give advice. There's nothing illegal about that. Senator Hinkins clarified that the bill he intends to draft is in its early stages and aims to strike a balance between providing oversight and ensuring that people can offer advice to their family members when requested. He plans to collaborate closely with the Utah Division of Professional Licensing to develop effective legislation that addresses these concerns. How about you take a little bit of a look into the Mormon Church while you're at it?
There you go.
Just a little thought.
There you go.
I don't know. Just maybe take a little peek behind the curtain, see if there's anything weird going on there. Like, I don't know, advising parishioners that Jodi Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke are great people to take advice from for many years. Maybe they did that to other people too. Maybe they just said that about a lot of people. Maybe there's other ones out there that maybe should, I don't know, be looked at a little bit. The child abuse involving Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt has underscored the need for clearer standards and oversight within the life coaching industry, or the sanity world that many of us strive to live in. But as long as there's folks like Ruby and Jodi out there, well, we'll have shit to talk about.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.